I have great respect for Angela, and I have great respect for the country. My father is German, right? Was German, and born in a very wonderful...
Yes, it's true. Frederick Trump was born in a very wonderful place in Germany, New York City, in 1905.
For doubt. The way he said it made it sound settled, like something everyone should already accept. But the reality was far simpler and already documented. Fred Trump's birthplace isn't a mystery buried in history. It's clearly recorded as Bronx, New York, dated October 11th, 1905. This isn't speculation or opinion. It's backed by newspapers, official records, and even obituaries. Over the years, this detail has been corrected again and again. Yet despite that, the claim kept coming back unchanged. The audience wasn't reacting with shock anymore. It was more like watching the same contradiction repeat itself in real time. A basic fact.
My father was born in a wonderful part of Germany, very, very West Germany, and I'll never forget his favorite German saying, "Ich bin ein, forget about it."
Phrase, forget about it, which only added to the confusion rather than clarifying anything. The moment felt less like a statement of fact and more like a performance disconnected from reality. Then the tone shifted. Stephen Colbert walked onto the stage calmly, holding just a single sheet of paper. No dramatic entrance, no attempt to hype the moment. He simply placed it down on the desk, allowing the cameras to zoom in slowly. The simplicity of the move made it more powerful. No jokes, no exaggeration, just evidence. He addressed what had just been said, that the president told the German chancellor his father was born in Germany. Then, without raising his voice, Colbert pointed directly at the document. Bronx, New York, October 11th, 1905. Clear, direct, undeniable. Trump, meanwhile, tried to redirect the focus. He spoke about wanting to move past discussion.
Numbers on us like nobody has ever done before. We can get on to issues, and hopefully when I sit down with interviews, people don't start talking about birth certificate, like they've been doing.
Continued presenting facts. One by one, additional documents came out. Clips and transcripts from past interviews, 2018 CBS News, a 2019 interview, 2020 Fox News. Each time, the same claim had been made. Each time, it had been corrected. And each time, the correction didn't stick. Colbert didn't need to say much. The pattern was doing all the talking. 4 separate years, 4 clear corrections, and still, the same incorrect statement kept returning. He held the pages up for the audience to see, not rushing, letting the repetition sink in. This wasn't about one mistake. It was about a pattern that had repeated over time.
The birth certificate was produced in 2011. You continued to tell the story and question the president's legitimacy in 2012, 13, 14, 15, as recently as January. So the question is, what changed your mind?
Well, nobody was pressing it. Nobody was caring much about it. I figured you'd ask the question tonight, of course, but nobody was caring much about it. But I was the one that got him to produce.
Holding it steady for the cameras. Bronx, New York. The same words, the same date. He explained that this came from a man who often speaks about having a perfect memory, about excelling academically, about scoring highly on cognitive tests. Yet despite all of that, he couldn't recall a basic, verifiable detail about his own father. The pauses between his words mattered. Each one gave the audience time to connect the dots. No exaggeration was needed. The contradiction was obvious. The discussion then circled back to the broader birth certificate narrative. Trump had previously claimed credit for pushing others to produce documentation, framing himself as someone who forced transparency. He mentioned how, at the time, nobody seemed to care much until he brought attention to it. Colbert didn't interrupt. Instead, he let that claim sit next to the evidence already shown. The contrast spoke louder than any rebuttal could. Even references to political opponents were brought up, suggesting others had also been involved in questioning legitimacy. But again, the focus stayed on what could actually be proven. And what could be proven was simple. The documents had always said the same thing. Bronx, New York. Colbert reminded the audience that early on, many people didn't pay much attention to these claims. But over time, as the same incorrect statement kept resurfacing, it became harder to ignore. What once seemed like a minor detail turned into a clear example of repeated misinformation. He raised Fred Trump's birth certificate once more. Bronx, New York, October 11th, 1905. Then he said it plainly. This is not Germany. It has never been Germany. The timeline was laid out clearly. 2018, 2019, 2020. and now again, years later. Each moment represented another opportunity to correct the record, and each time, that opportunity was missed. Colbert slowed his delivery, almost deliberately stretching the silence between sentences. The effect was powerful. It allowed the audience to process not just the facts, but the repetition of ignoring those facts. This wasn't about a single slip-up. It was about a consistent pattern. He highlighted how public records, eyewitness accounts, and documented corrections all aligned perfectly. There was...
Objection, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Objection. There is no way that woman had sex with my daddy because she didn't once mention him giving a special kiss to her belly button. Because that's where the baby comes out.
To the presentation. The audience didn't react with laughter. Instead, there was a sense of understanding. The weight of the moment came from clarity, not comedy. Later, Trump spoke positively about his meeting with the German chancellor, focusing on diplomacy and relations. But notably, there was no mention of the Bronx, no acknowledgement of the correction that had just been laid out in front of everyone, and that's what made the moment stand out. Facts exist, even when denied. Records are clear. Repetition exposes patterns, and the audience could see the full timeline and understand exactly what it meant.